Hey, my name is Jacob Richardson. I serve as pastor at City Light Mosaic Church in Omaha and want to welcome you to the State of the City Summer Dive series, where we're just spending time really showing you what is the value of this book and what are the churches and the leaders in our city doing with the information in this book. It's a really cool looking book. It looks good on a coffee table, but I'll tell you it serves way more of a purpose than just sitting on your coffee table, and we want to show you why. One of my favorite pages is on pages 50 and 51. It shows demographic information by zip code all throughout our city, and we're able to really easily compare different zip codes and different realities in those zip codes. The church that I serve as pastor of is in the 68105 zip code, which happens to be the first one on this list. And one of the interesting things that stood out to me just looking through it is the fact that that zip code is the fourth most diverse zip code in the city. Why is that important to us? Because we at City Light Mosaic exist to multiply diverse disciples and churches who are unified by the gospel of Jesus. We believe that's what heaven looks like, and so that's what we want our church to look like. But also what's beautiful is that that's what our neighborhood looks like. And we have this conviction that as a church, we should be able to reach the people who live and spend a lot of their time right around where our church gathers. And so if our neighborhood is significantly diverse, that means our church should also be significantly diverse. For us to put that into practice, we are bilingual. We do everything in both English and Spanish because, again, that's what our neighborhood looks like. And if we want to effectively reach them, we need to look like they look, right? This information really just helps affirm the fact that God has called us to something and he's intentionally placed us in that neighborhood very much on purpose. Another really interesting section is the human flourishing section. Pages 64 is where it kind of begins, and it shows this information comparing churched adults versus non-churched adults, both in the United States and in Omaha. Something, if you look at this in the financial section, it's communicating that churched adults in Omaha have the same financial health, the same financial well-being as non-churched adults throughout the rest of the country. Why is that a bit alarming to us? Well, because God, through his word, has a lot to say about money. Jesus has a lot to say about money, and he really teaches us how we can steward the finances that he has entrusted to us. And we see that that's a huge opportunity, a huge need here in our city, that we as the church would be able to equip the people of God into a healthy view of finances, that it is certainly not the goal, but it's a tool to accomplish the mission of God in our lives and in our families. So we as a church had an individual who came to us and said, hey, I am able and willing to teach financial classes for your church, but I basically just need your permission and your blessing to do that. And so as we are able to hear that invitation from this individual and then look at the need that we have in our city, it's a really, really easy yes, because we're meeting a real need of real people that this book highlights. Another fascinating reality on page 67 is, again, talking about human flourishing, but really talking about the fact that most Americans, as the book says, are bored at work. Only 24% of people really believe that what they do is valuable here in our city. So that means 1 out of every 4 people think that their work is valuable. That means 3 out of 4 don't. God has placed us where he's placed us on purpose. He has a very specific calling for us, whether we work in an office or at home or at a school. Wherever God has us, he has us there on purpose. And so when we see that reality, and we also see the reality that's highlighted here, that 25% say that they at least somewhat understand their purpose in life, we see there's a lot of work to be done, that so many people are wondering, why am I here and why am I doing what I'm doing? Well, God has an answer for that. And so we as a church can speak into that. We can encourage people that God has wired them and given them gifts and passions on purpose, and he wants to use them wherever they're at to build his kingdom here in Omaha as it is in heaven. So that's just some ways that we're using this book, that we're excited about this book. And I would just encourage you, open it, read it, learn from it, and see what God would do.